Conservative activist Seton Motley, which is an interesting name, went on Fox News to discuss the idea of outing welfare recipients by publishing their addresses. This, of course, is, as other people have rightly called it, poor shaming. Naturally, the right wing is totally on board here. The far right is totally on board. And he's going to make some outrageous points.
If we're serious about shrinking spending on public assistance, then what we really should be doing is raising the minimum wage. Raising the minimum wage to $12 an hour would actually save $53 billion in food stamps over the next 10 years. That's the way to get people off public assistance.
Seton, it sounds like she would like to see a list of the employers who are paying less than $15 an hour.
Well,
which is different than the list of people on welfare.
Yeah, once again, let's shame the people who are creating jobs rather than, shaming the people who are receiving welfare. And of course, she's got half the table right on raising the minimum wage. Of course, the number of people on assistance will explode because of all the jobs that will be killed as a result of the raising of the minimum wage. The problem is a family of three is not supposed to be living on a minimum wage. If you're making minimum wage, you shouldn't be having children and being on and trying to raise a family on it.
Whoa, dude. So people who make minimum wage are presumably people who can't raise kids with any level of quality of life or income security. Kids, don't have kids. Fuck you. You shouldn't be having kids. That's his takeaway? Not, hey, maybe the system's a little fucked up if some people are working full-time and they can't afford to raise kids. So, again, classic right-wing approach here. There's never anything wrong with the system. There's never a systemic flaw which has left good people behind. It's always, the poor, fuck them, you know how they are. Why are you having kids anyway? You don't make enough money to pay for them, goddammit. Well, maybe if the system actually rewarded their work to any rational level, they would be able to afford those kids. And I like how she points out just a stone-cold fact, and he still finds a way to wiggle his way out of acknowledging it. No, she said, and she's right because studies have shown this, if you raise the minimum wage to what many economists say is a living wage, which is $12 an hour, and you chain it to inflation, the government saves $53 billion. Now, there's a reason for that. Because the minimum wage is not a living wage right now, people need to make up the difference somewhere. So where do they go to make up the difference? To the government. They need food stamps, so they need a variety of different social safety net programs because the job that they're working at doesn't pay them enough to survive. So what you don't understand is it's simply reality to say if we raise the minimum wage, well, we're actually going to shrink the size of government. Now, when he fires back with, well, the unemployment's going to go up, made it up. Now, this has been a classic argument from libertarians and conservatives for a long time now where they say, anytime you raise the minimum wage, by definition, the unemployment's going to go up. Except, wait a second, they've studied this in some places. At the state level, they've raised the minimum wage many times, and you can look at this. Economists have looked at this, and they found, people don't actually get fired. Unemployment doesn't actually go up. Now, in theory, they're right if you raise the minimum wage too much. So if you were to say tomorrow, okay, we're going to take the minimum wage from $7.25 to $53, well then yeah, a lot of people would get fired because a lot of businesses can't afford to pay people $53 an hour. But if you're raising it from $7.25 to a living wage of $12 an hour and you chain it to inflation, no, that's not going to lead to mass unemployment. The reality is it's going to lead to a shrinking of the government programs because people no longer have to run to those programs because the businesses that they're working for aren't paying them enough.